Welcome to Rugby Uncovered. I'm Tom Nash. We are going to be uncovering the events from the last weekend in the Tyrrell's Premier 15s division, which is currently in its third season, a pivotal one in that this 2019-20 will be the first when we see promotion to and relegation from this, the top league in English Women's Rugby Union. Below the Tyrrell Premier 15s are the Women's Championship North 1 and the Women's Championship South 1, from each of which either one or two clubs, yet to be decided, will be promoted in May 2020, and the clubs relegated from the Tyrrell's Premier 15s, 2 or 4, will drop down into the second tier. This is all to be decided over the next 6 months. The 10 clubs in the Tyrrell's Premier 15s include Saracens Women, Harlequins Ladies, Wasps Ladies, Gloucester Hartpury Women, Loughborough Lightning, Bristol Bears Ladies, Darlington Mowden Park Sharks, Richmond Women, Furwood Waterloo Ladies and Worcester Warriors. On Saturday, December the 7th, Rugby Uncovered were at Twyford Avenue, home of Wasps Ladies, for round 8 of the season. Wasps Ladies match against league leaders Harlequins Women, whose 7 out of 7 wins matched the record of Saracens Women before Saturday's fixtures. Harlequins Women started more effectively, putting Wasps Ladies on the back foot for the first 20 minutes and taking an early lead. This first half was a half of 2 halves, as Wasps were the better side until the break, reducing the deficit to near parity. For long periods of the match, the two teams were evenly matched in what was a brilliant 80 minutes of rugby. The difference? Harlequins were the more clinical when it mattered, as in when within sight of Wasps Ladies' try line. The 13-39 final scoreline in Quinn's favour, although arguably harsh, reflected this. In the day's later kick-offs, Saracens maintained their 100% record as they defeated Darlington Mowden Park Sharks 69-12, Bristol Bears Ladies losing at home to Gloucester Hartpury Women 24-53, Loughborough Lightning winning at home to Worcester Warriors Women 50-26, and Furwood Waterloo Ladies beating Richmond Women 20-10. Both teams, along with Worcester Warriors, prop up the league on 5 points after 8 games played. Harlequins leading Saracens at the top of the division by a single extra bonus point, with Gloucester Hartpury Women and Loughborough Lightning in 3rd and 4th positions. Rugby Uncovered was interested to hear the views of some of the Wasps and Quins fans at half-time. Starting with Wasps, was it her team's slow start that had been the difference?
Yeah, I wouldn't know what it was that changed it, but having watched them a few times, it just seems to be that first 20 minutes takes them to warm up and get going, whether it's that lack of confidence or belief in themselves. I don't know.
One of the Quins fans believed the message delivered to her players by Wasps coach Giselle Mather had altered the mood in the Wasps team.
Something did change, yeah. I think they just got the ball to the backs, and the backs had a run, and they can match them, and possibly more than match them, and I think that was it. And there's no point in trying to play a forwards game against Quins. They're just way too big, and they can't play better rugby. They're just an awful lot bigger, so you're going to really struggle, particularly with Wasps. And Wasps look as if they can play rugby. They've got some good skills. They've got some really nice players. They've got some super athletes out there, when you watch them running and doing their stuff. So getting the ball out to the backs, I think, and hopefully that's what they're saying in the changing room now, and they'll come out and the backs will see a lot more of the ball.
Harlequins Women's head coach Karen Findlay, former Scotland Women's International and senior Metropolitan Police officer, was a delighted and gracious winner. What did Karen think was the difference between hers and the Wasps side?
I think we were just far more clinical at the point of contact today. Our platform was outstanding. Our scrum absolutely, definitely it was just far better. Scrum was dominant. Our line out was dominant, and we caused real problems for them in terms of that platform, whether it be in attack or defence. And then our absolute desire not to let anything cross our line in the second half, and our discipline was a lot better in the second half. So that's you get a combination of 3 or 4 of those things. And I think you've got to defend well to stop us when we are playing on front football. And we just stuck to our game plan and played our game, and the rewards came.
Some of the neutrals said they thought there was possibly a difference in the strength and conditioning quality of the two teams?
Yeah, I mean, I think every Premiership team now has got a really good S&C foundation behind it. But we've worked really hard. When there was the autumn test break, we all really proud to see our internationals go off and play rugby. But in that 3-4 week we played a lot of live rugby, and we really pushed ourselves on S&C, because at the end of the day, you want to lift a game in the last 20-25 minutes, and by doing that, it was just we got there.
What is going to be the difference, do you think, at the end of the season? You've got a 100% record,
Yep.
as have Saracens.
Yeah.
What will divide the two teams, do you think?
Oh yeah, I mean, I can't think about the end of the season. We're not thinking about that. Our focus will be next week now, and we're just playing a game at a time. They're a fantastic squad of players to be around. They're very motivated. They're very close. They're a tight group who they've got an inner will this year, an inner sense of desire to get ourselves into that top four and hopefully stay at the top of the table as much as we can. But we're just literally enjoying our rugby and playing a game at a time. And I think when we do that, we don't worry about what's going to come at the end of the season.
Best of luck for the rest of the season, and well played.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers,
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Nice
Cheers.
to meet you.
Abby Dow, Wasps fullback and Rugby Uncovered's player of the match, had strong views on the two sides' consistency.
I wouldn't potentially say more consistent. I mean, I'd say we dominated them in some spells as well, as much as they dominated us. It's just they were able to finish it off. So I think it's just about that finish and just being that extra bit of clinical, clinical part needed to our play. So I think we need to go back to the drawing board, sort out our structure to begin with, so get that first phase correct, just to give us the dominance that we can play with. I think the teams were quite evenly matched. I think it was literally just about that last phase that they managed to put through and we didn't quite do. So I think in a couple of months' time when we get to play them again, hopefully it'll be a different story.
And towards the end of the game, the neutrals said that they thought there might be a difference in the strength and conditioning quality of the two teams.
I'd probably disagree with that. I mean, they are a heavier pack, but that doesn't necessarily mean muscle. We've got a really good structure going on in Wasps here with our strength and conditioning. It's a great structure. We're seeing performance and we're seeing development of each of our players in our strength, and it's been shown on the pitch. Matching our players up together, it's not that disequal. So I'll probably disagree with that.
No, I mean, you definitely don't come into that category. You've had two very good games in 2 weeks. We've seen you.
Thank you.
You were our player of the match today. Well done.
Oh, thank you.
And you're disappointed, obviously, but there is a foundation there to go on now for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, a foundation is key. So we're not starting from scratch. We know where we can work off. It's not a finished product, but that's okay right now. So we've got still over half a season to go out and change these scores to make them more positive. So yeah, it's all up in the air, hopefully.
Well played, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
Wasp Ladies Director of Rugby, Giselle Mather, has a similarly impressive CV to her opposite number at Quinn's, Karen Findlay, as player and coach with Teddington, Wasps and Richmond, 34 England caps and a World Cup winners' medal from 1994. I put it to Giselle that the short periods of dominance by her team proved to be exactly that. Too short.
I think if you look at the experience that they've got, the size that they've got, they're virtually an international outfit against a club side, and so I'm really proud of what we've managed to achieve. I feel that the score doesn't exactly reflect the game. They had a purple patch at the beginning of the second half where they scored 3 quick tries, which we've obviously got to work out how we make sure that doesn't happen again. But I think some of our detail went out at those moments, and tries came from our mistakes that first phase, which gives them the ball and then they get to do their thing. Our discipline as well was an issue, particularly in the first half, which allows them to kick and put us down in the positions where their physicality can really can really hurt us. And I think that's what has happened today. That said, I think we played some really good rugby in places against what are very strong, very physical players.
You played a more expansive game, in the opinion of many, compared with last week, where when you got it out to the backs, it was impressive. You matched them. That was a big difference compared with last week for us.
Yeah, I think last week would have liked to have been able to do that, but I think Sarri's defence they defend in a different way to Quinn's. Our kicking game today gave us opportunity to put in there, and we were able to put them under pressure, get the ball back and then shift it. Particularly in the last 20 minutes, I think we opened it up quite nicely and challenged them out in those areas because they are unbelievably strong in their pack. So we knew that we had to get the ball far away from them as possible today, which is why you saw us more expansive this week than we were last.
You started slowly, in the opinion of many. Is that a pattern? Is that something that in the break you talked to the girls about, and the energy levels were raised in the 20 minutes to the 40 minutes, we thought?
Yeah, I think a lot of that will sit around belief systems. When you come up against the two sides which we've had the last 2 weeks that are unbeaten by anyone so far, that's a challenge to an athlete. And whilst we talked about it beforehand, and the differences between where we're at and they're at, and what we believe in ourselves, to get out here for the first 10-15 minutes, they have to believe that what they've been told is true. And I think that's probably where the slower start occurs. And then when they get into it, it's like, do you know what? We are able to do this. We can do this. And they did. They went out and did it both this week and last. And, last week we had the opportunity. Last play of the game, we lost the losing bonus point. This week, it's the first 10 minutes in the second half where we've let ourselves down, but we're moving in the right direction.
You've matched the two best teams in the country for spells during each of those games. That you've lost, but we didn't feel that reflected the ability of the two teams. You must be encouraged. You must be hugely encouraged.
Absolutely. I'm really proud of them. The effort they put in, the way they train, the commitment that they have to their own development is amazing. They all have full-time jobs. They all have to work really hard, and yet they come in and they train all the times that they've got, both on their skills, both on their strength and conditioning. They do their rehab, their prehab, their nutrition. They do everything, and they're unpaid athletes at the moment. I have huge respect for what they do, and to come out in a situation like that where they're playing against international rugby players. I mean, I've got international players too, but if you add up ours to theirs, it's incomparable, and yet they're putting in performances week in, week out that they can be proud of. Next week we go to Richmond. We need to build on this, and then we have a huge game against Gloucester just before Christmas, which will be a significant game as to the placement of where we finish in the league overall at the end of the season. So we will now build on these experiences, the lessons that we've learned. And to be the best, you've got to go up against the best. And it tells you where you're at and what we've got to do. And we know that. And the girls know that. They're disappointed, but they're also aware of the journey that we're on to try and be the best. So that's what we're about, and that's what we're working towards.
I'm going to repeat what you just said in a way, but it's not a cliche in sport. You are putting foundations in place for the future, in our opinion.
Absolutely, without question. And, this is the third year of TPs, and we've not beaten those two sides yet. Well, we've beaten Sarries here 2 years ago. We beat them here, but we're getting better all the time, and the differences are becoming less and less. A lot of what's happened today is our own errors, whereas in the past I feel that teams have been able to put things together against us that we haven't been able to cope with. Well, I don't think that's the case today. I think it's our own errors, so we need to become more consistent in the skill set that we're delivering, and the game plan we've got, I feel, suits the side that we are, and we've just got to get better at that as well, which, testing those two sides, we've put them under a lot of pressure with our game plan. So we're going to continue with that and continue to work as hard as we can to become a more consistent side.
Abby Dow earlier and we had a slight difference of opinion about certain terms that we used. I used the word nasty, she used the word clinical. That is mental. That's purely mental, I guess, and that is going to play a part, I think, in the development of this team.
Again, that goes back down to belief systems, doesn't it? It's what they feel they can add, and whether you say nasty, clinical, consistent, they are all words that are connected to the same thing. And top 2 inches is now, where you've got to work it, what you've got to believe in, and the girls are working towards that, and it doesn't happen overnight. Athletic development doesn't happen overnight. Mental development about your belief systems doesn't happen overnight. And these are tests that we need to go through on that journey to becoming the best that we can be.
Thank you so much, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you, my pleasure.
On Saturday, December the 14th, one of Harlequins or Saracens will see their 100% record punctured as they play each other for the first time in round 9 of the season, the halfway stage. Darlington Mowden Park Sharks host Bristol Bears women, Worcester Warriors entertain Furwood Waterloo ladies, Gloucester Hartpury are at home to Loughborough Lightning, and on Sunday the 15th, Wasps ladies travel to Richmond women. Check the RFU and club websites for kick-off times, and we look forward to your company again next time.